Hi, thank you for doing this great job. My question is from Darren. Since you mentioned cryptocurrency, lately I have seen this trend, this popular celebrities with the large number of followers on social media, they have been endorsing certain cryptocurrencies. So if any misconduct happens, do we are these celebrities liable? Will they be held accountable for their actions because they endorsed certain cryptocurrency?
I really thank you for asking this question because it is my next example that I didn't get to.
Unprompted.
So I swear she's not a plant. So let me first answer from a legal perspective, and then I'll give you the example. So the answer is it depends, right? If you are a celebrity who's in a commercial, just like you might advertise Hertz, you're not necessarily endorsing the product, right? So when Matt Damon was on Crypto.com or when Larry David was on the FTX Super Bowl ads, like to me anyway, that was not an endorsement. They were an actor in a commercial, right? But this example, Ethereum Max, Kim Kardashian actually endorsed the product with this ad on her Instagram. And so she says, you know, look, it's my friends. They just told me about this Max token. And the only thing she has to indicate that she's being paid for this is at the end, #ad, right? And she was supposed to, because this is an endorsement, say, I am endorsing, and this is how much I'm being paid to endorse, which was $250,000. She ended up being fined $1.2 million by the SEC for this endorsement. And she wasn't alone. There were other celebrities as well involved in this. But I wanted to make one other point about Ethereum Max, which again, I'm going to give the disclaimer that there is no enforcement action that I'm aware of against them at this point. There is a class action against them. But I wanted to talk just a little bit about how maybe to be skeptical when you see a cryptocurrency project. So Ethereum Max, if you went to their website and you wanted to figure out what they do, you would see this. And I guess I'll read it. I apologize for reading a slide that's in front of you, but it says, our vision is to build a robust and scalable ecosystem that fully maximizes the power of DeFi, creating a wide range of products for our community that encompasses, so far, anyone know what it does? If you get through the whole paragraph, you will not know what this company does, right? And then, so there was an article about it in CoinDesk, which is like the most major cryptocurrency media outlet out there. And it says, a CoinDesk reporter searched the Ethereum Max website for information about how to unlock the purported cultural perks that come with the Max tokens they have purchased, but they were unsuccessful. So not only is it hard to figure out what they do, if you kind of figure out you're supposed to get these perks and you try to get them, you can't quite get them, you should start thinking, well, maybe this isn't an actual, you know, project that I should be investing in. Forbes later came out with an article about the project, and it said that effectively Ethereum Max, according to the article, was a pump and dump scheme, and it wasn't the first time the creators of the project had been involved in a pump and dump scheme. But they're getting Kim Kardashian, who you know, has this huge fan base, many of whom are not sophisticated investors because, you know, like they include my 13-year-old daughter, and they're marketing that, you know, hey, Kim likes this thing, but they're not sophisticated enough to go and look at the website and think, this doesn't smell right. Right, but hopefully, you know, we can sort of get people to have their senses out for this sort of a thing.
Thank you.
Yeah. Thank you.
This is another quick crypto question. With your clients that you represent, has there ever been gray area with the law and things that may not be formed yet, where you really couldn't advocate on their issue because it may not even exist yet?
Absolutely. So whether it's in crypto or in any whistleblower scenario, you got to make sure that there is a legal remedy. So often the best example of this is actually in the False Claims Act arena, where there's all sorts of really, really complicated laws about what constitutes a false claim, and you have to know the law and figure it out and determine whether or not this is something you want to, is this a case you want to take, because the law might not be entirely clear on it. In terms of the cryptocurrency area, I mean, there's always going to be questions. For example, is the token that's at issue actually a security? You have to do that analysis to determine whether it is. Now, most tokens, as I said before, are, but maybe you say, well, and I've done this before, I file with both the SEC and the CFTC because it's either a security or it's a commodity. So you always got to do the legal analysis, and the legal analysis is not always crystal clear.
Hi, I want to thank you both. I have a question just in general about privacy, in the sense that I think that crypto, one of the reasons for crypto being founded was desires for anonymity. And so then there's sort of a societal benefit of regulation versus a personal desire for anonymity or privacy. And I would ask the same issues around healthcare, in that there are patients have a desire for privacy, but you talk about different states, and different states are wrestling with issues around privacy and right to know and parental right to know and consent. And so I'd be interested to hear how you think about this sort of general societal tension.
Oh, I want to make sure I could take on a little bit of that question, or we
Sure,
could take
yeah, we
it
have a
in
couple. Yeah, if you have any thoughts you want to share, or we can open it up.
Sure. I think there's definitely a tension between privacy and regulation in the crypto sphere. It's a huge issue. My personal take on this is the privacy advocates in the crypto sphere, who are advocates for financial privacy, are generally driven by a mistrust of government, which I think is a fair, it's a fair feeling to have, and that's particularly true when you're speaking of governments that don't respect privacy at all. But here in the U.S., I generally think we do respect privacy. Having been a former federal prosecutor, I know that my colleagues and I took privacy very seriously, and honestly, I never came across a government worker. I have many, many friends in the federal government. Nobody cares about your personal life and your personal privacy, what we generally think of, sort of colloquially as privacy. We just care about, are you committing crimes? And so, when you talk about sort of being able to access large amounts of data to determine whether or not there may be patterns that reveal crime, that may, at a certain level, be violating some kind of financial privacy. But in my mind, my personal opinion, it's worth it, because it is not such a core element of privacy, like the privacy one has in one's home or the privacy one has in one's love life. And it is worth it for to go after money laundering and tax evasion, et cetera, et cetera.
So one thought I had that I wanted to share in listening to you both throughout the day, and especially in the last comments you made about how you're doing this research state to state. We often think of honesty as just truth-telling, telling the truth or not, making material misstatements or not. And I think it's so much more. And there's an element of truth-seeking and really being open to updating your beliefs, finding out information. Examples you've shared about when you prioritize ethics and honesty, goes well beyond just not making a misleading advertisement. Right? You have to do the work and find out the information. I think the examples you shared as well. So there's this truth-seeking and also this fostering understanding, and that involving disclosure and how you communicate it and checking for understanding. And I think that comes through in these examples of when these things go wrong, right? Whether it's in cryptocurrency and people being actively misleading customers, consumers, the general public, or whether the technology really is so technical that it's hard to understand. Certainly the cases you shared, it seemed very deliberate, but I think there's more there. I think we're at time, but I wanted to thank you all and thank you to our panelists. Thank you.